Good morning and welcome to the Bay of Kotor and to the Fiat 500X. I've been out here for the past few days and decided to hire this Fiat 500. Initially I wasn't going to make a video on the car, but I've been pleasantly surprised by how nice this is to drive and how enjoyable it has been. So I decided to make a quick video on what I've enjoyed about it and why I would highly recommend this car. To start with the exterior of the car, I think it is a very good looking car. I've seen a few of them out here in different colors, and every time I see it, it just looks quite great. It's sporty yet slightly elegant, and this has good proportions all around. On the size wise, it is sort of a small to medium sized crossover. Around the Bay of Kotor, where the roads are really tight, it has been sort of small enough that it's nippy to get around, but also big enough that you sort of don't feel bullied on the roads. On the highway it's quite decent. There are obviously rattles and creaks, but it has more than enough power to get you around. The acceleration is quite good when you have it in the right gear, and that mild hybrid system really does help to push you along. As you can see, this car is quite messy. We've driven probably 1,000 kilometers over the last few days, taken it on some dirt roads, some stretchy outbacks, so really given it a good old bashing. I think what's been most surprising about this car is just how well and how nice it is to drive. You can take it on a dirt road, and because it's a crossover, it does pretty decently. And then when you take it onto a tight switchback road, it's not too bad as well. The exhaust is quite good. It has every now and then a burble or crackle, and if you chuck this thing in manual and rev it out, it does sound really nice. As I mentioned before, this car is a mild hybrid. So practically, what does that mean? It means that you don't really have to stop and plug it in anywhere to charge. It just charges based on your braking, acceleration and your normal coasting. This has been quite lovely, to be frank. Around town, when you're doing about 30 kilometers per hour, it'll be in full electric mode. As soon as you go over 30, it actually kicks in the engine and takes over. It has a nice little sort of graphic in the car which explains to you when it's using electric versus when it's using petrol, and you can sort of figure out that, you know, when you're coasting, it'll go into fully electric. When you're just driving around normally or pushing it, it sort of uses both, and then there's instances where it's just fully petrol. But it does that switching really well and at the right times. The fuel economies has also been quite lovely. I've sort of felt like the fuel gauge never really goes down because a lot of the time it is sitting in that fully electric mode. On the interior side, it is a nice stylish interior, quite unique, nothing sort of similar to this on the market. The build quality is okay, not the best, not the worst. It's definitely doable for this type of car. Got nice leather and fabric seats, 2-zone climate control, and a very small infotainment system. The infotainment system is rubbish, I will not lie to you. Luckily it does have CarPlay, but that CarPlay is also quite small and probably smaller than the size of my screen. It has been finicky at times. But overall though, you know, a good, decent, practical interior. Has some of its drawbacks, but not horrific. On the steering wheel, you get a nice sporty steering wheel. It's got a flat bottom, a bit of Alcantara and red cross stitching. Overall, on the sort of nice twisty roads, it's been very nice to just throw around. In terms of the panoramic sort of convertible soft top, while that is beautiful on a nice sunny day, when it is closed it does rattle quite a bit. The noise insulation is also quite terrible, will not lie to you. It almost feels like you have a window open when you go through some of the tunnels. But overall I think you can overlook that for being what it is. If you're sort of buying this car to be a small runaround sporty hatchback, you can sort of expect the car to have rattles and creaks now and then. A couple other notable features in this car which I found is quite great is you have voice assistant that obviously connects into Siri as well. You do have adaptive cruise control and the like, so it'll maintain distance, brake, accelerate, all of that good stuff. In terms of lane keep assist, you'll see there's a small icon there next to the 8 sign that will keep you nicely in your lane, and then it does have blind spot assist as well. So those are some nice big car features on a medium-sized crossover, which is really welcome. The rear of the car, I haven't sat in it much, but I mean it's got decent legroom, 3 seats, 420 split, no amenities in the back in terms of USB ports or air conditioning, but you do have electric windows in the back. Obviously also very practical, plasticky throughout, but I mean, it is what it is. It is a Fiat 500. In terms of the boot size, pretty decent boot, to be honest with you. We managed to fit our big bags in here, 2 small hand luggages, and a couple of other small nits and bits. So really nice and practical boot size. You do have a bit of a ledge here. Importantly, no spare wheel at all. As we touched on earlier, this is a mild hybrid, so you don't have to plug in to charge the electric at all. It sort of just charges naturally as you drive. That it's been quite nice and quite convenient. And that's my quick review of the Fiat 500X. Overall, a pretty decent car. I was pleasantly surprised by how nicely it drives and how fun it is to drive on some of the tighter roads. It's also been fairly comfortable and a good overall car. We've thoroughly enjoyed using it for the past week here in the Bay of Kotor specifically. It's been good on the highways, good on the twitchy roads, not too bad when you took it on some dirtier outback roads as well. So overall, if you're in the market for sort of a mid-sized crossover, not your main car, just like a family runaround, this might be something quite decent. It does have its drawbacks in terms of, you know, some of the interior build quality and the rattles and squeaks, but I think if you go into it knowing you're going to be able to live with that, it is a pretty nice, small, neat package. So that's it from my side. Let me know if you have any questions or queries. I'll be in the comments to answer any of it. Cheers.